Heartbreak in Hartville. Episode 8. Heartless and Heartfelt. Welcome back to Slice of Crimes. I'm Casey, your resident Slice Sleuth, and today I'm ready to resolve the open issues surrounding the haunting tale of Daisy Hart, a story that has dragged us deep into the heart of darkness, where secrets, lies, betrayal, abuse, insecurity, jealousy, deceit, distrust, and failure were the fuel that fed the flames that lit the fuse that detonated the bomb of pure evil. Hartville will never be the same. No longer perfect, no longer ideal, it's now tainted like a curse breeding suspicion and fear. Hartville will forever be fatally flawed. Let's begin with Mary Marks, a woman whose actions violently shook the very foundation of this community, allowing evil to infiltrate and erode the once solid and impeccable core of Hartville. To understand her, we must first understand the psyche of a female killer, a rare and often misunderstood subject. Women who kill often do so within a domestic sphere, driven by complex emotional and psychological factors. Unlike male killers, whose crimes are often driven by power or control, female killers are more likely to be motivated by fear, desperation, or perceived betrayal. Mary's case is no exception. The fear of losing everything she held dear, her marriage, her friendship, her place in the community, drove her to commit the unthinkable. In her mind, she wasn't just protecting herself. She was preserving a fragile world that she had spent her entire life building. The betrayal she experienced, compounded by the secret she carried, created a psychological pressure cooker. The closest two people in her life, her best friend and her husband, had developed a connection that did not include her, and that exclusion felt like the worst form of loss to her. A rejection, a wound that would never heal. Her only remedy was not just revenge, but retaliation. She needed to rip open a wound so deep, so raw, so painful, they would never recover. It became her obsession to permanently injure Maggie and Dane. Daisy represented their union, and the sight of her became intolerable to Mary. And when that pressure became too much, it exploded in the most tragic way possible, taking down far more than just Maggie and Dane. No, there was plenty of collateral damage, and Mary, gone was her ability to act rationally, to make reasonable choices, to even care. Mary was disturbingly indifferent to all of it. But there's more to this devastating set of circumstances. Mary had been desperate to conceive a child of her own, hers and Dane's. During the rounds of IVF, Mary endured countless injections, literally hundreds, and each contributed to a chemical and hormonal manipulation of her body, forcing it into a state of fertility. The hormones, the steroids, the mental exhaustion, and the eventual anguish that resulted from either failure or loss was enough to drive her into a dangerous mental health crisis. She began to suspect Maggie didn't want her to succeed so she could be the only mother. Did Maggie sabotage the shots? She started to believe so. And in time, she was sure. Then Mary found the photo. It was innocent enough. All four of them posing. So silly, dancing in their swimsuits on a day that got a little crazy. Everyone a little tipsy on Maggie's hard lemonade and soaking in the sun on a 4th of July 5 years ago. Mary smiled, remembering a quintessential small-town celebration that had lasted well into the night. The sizzling excitement of fireworks exploding in the sky. The whistling, whizzing sound as they shot up from the ground to high above, where they burst into magical drops of twinkling glitter. Mary could still recall the boom, resonating in her gut, sending a bolt of excitement through her body. The brightest, shimmering, fiery patterns reflected in everyone's eyes as they watched, mesmerized. Those images swirled in her mind. The vivid memory warmed her heart. until her heartbeat quickened and she found herself holding her breath, suddenly aware something was not right. Why was the photo tucked back in a drawer, not shoved or crinkled, but carefully nestled, like it was a hidden treasure being kept sacred, as if it were a forbidden pleasure? The more the IVF hormones surged through her system, the more she realized that she knew. She had always known, and she had not seemed to mind. Their secret was her secret, until the day she felt compelled to send the samples. Pumped full of hormones and steroids, it seemed her mind no longer controlled her body. Rather, her body controlled her mind. She couldn't stop herself. 23andMe confirmed it, and suddenly she was driven mad. Against her own will, she was literally drawn into a dark plot of revenge. It became an intrusive thought, an obsessive thought, and eventually an intricate plan, which provided her a purpose. And, for some strange reason, she felt her mind relieved of madness and the madness replaced by pleasure. Her confidence was derived from her tremendous ability to manipulate everyone around her. She had been a bright student, a talented teacher, a deeply loving and supportive wife, a sincere and fiercely caring friend. But none of those accomplishments could compare to the sheer satisfaction she derived from exacting revenge, proof that at heart, she was pure evil. In her desperation to perfectly plot and carry out her retaliation, Mary decided she needed help. The manipulation began when Mary discreetly confided in Duke, expressing her concerns about Dane's infertility, emphasizing if he couldn't have his own child, it would destroy him. Coming out of the foster system, escaping the abuse, gaining stability, falling in love, and having his best friend, who was like the brother he had always longed for. Dane almost had it all. Having children, completing the family unit, was something he needed, though, something he couldn't survive without. Every IVF failure, every early miscarriage, Mary had mourned for her husband, who wanted a child more than even she had. She knew Duke understood this truth. She also knew he would do anything for Dane, anything. And that's how she convinced him to donate his sperm anonymously for her last round of IVF without telling Maggie or Dane. Mary knew he would do it because he believed he was giving his best friend, Dane, the gift his heart required. He would always protect Dane's heart and Maggie's heart too. He loved them both that much. This is how Duke slipped into the role of accomplice, an unwitting player in Mary's master plan to blow up lives, including his own. And just like that, Mary took everything from Maggie and Dane, everything they had taken from her when Daisy was conceived. It had been almost too easy. She obviously knew Dane was not infertile, but Duke had no reason to question anything she said. In time, Duke would find out Dane was certainly not infertile, and as soon as he did, he would understand why Mary had needed him. In Mary's twisted mind, it was logical Duke wouldn't blame her. Her pregnancy would also serve as his revenge on Maggie. Mary's plan didn't harm Duke, it helped him. Her mind's eye saw only black and white, good and bad, right and wrong. Duke was on Mary's side, an innocent victim of Dane and Maggie's, just like herself. He would miss Daisy at first, but she was never his child. Once Duke held his own child, he would thank her, Mary was certain. And that is how, 7.5 months after murdering Daisy, Mary gave birth to twins, a boy and girl. Twins fathered by Duke, but born to a mother who would never raise them, a mother whose life had just been reduced to waiting to die. Whether sentenced to life in prison or sentenced to death, Mary would die in prison sooner or later. It's always difficult for me to wrap my head around a situation like this. Mary was successful in executing her plan for retaliation by taking Daisy's life and for revenge by giving birth to Duke's children. But it's so convoluted. Her actions may have given her a fleeting sense of power or control, but they reveal a complete disconnect from reality. Her plan was elaborate and calculated, but in the end, it was fundamentally self-destructive. It's almost as if she could no longer distinguish between punishment and reward, between love and hate. She thought taking Daisy's life and giving Duke a child would somehow even the score. Now it makes sense when she asked Dane what side he was on. He had told her there was only one side, Daisy's. But for Mary, the only side was her own. Mary lost everything. Actually, she abandoned everything she had ever been or hoped to be. Her only identity now is a monster. It's a tragic reminder that revenge often destroys the one who seeks it most. Maggie's guilt had swelled to an unmanageable proportion. During the search for Daisy, her secret would be exposed. She had a very short fling with Dane. Just one night, after the fireworks and everyone had been asleep except the two of them. It was a long-time attraction between them, and they had given into curiosity and desire. While they both admitted afterwards, it was a fun night. They knew the attraction and love they felt was just the bond between friends. A familiarity, a safe and comfortable feeling, nothing more, nothing less. The fling was a one-time thing, but Maggie found out she was pregnant a month later. They both loved Duke and Mary, and they both were already feeling so guilty, they mutually decided they would never speak of their night together. If it never happened, it could never hurt anyone. And they were the only two people in the world who knew the secret. Only problem, there was never any confirmation of who was Daisy's father, Duke or Dane. It could be either. Dane and Duke were both fair, blonde, and blue-eyed. Maggie's hair was a unique mix of chestnut with auburn highlights that she'd passed along to Daisy, who had Maggie's greenish blue eyes too, so there was no way to tell by looking. Maggie truly didn't know. Dane didn't know. But both conceded to it being Duke. He was the father. That's what they all wanted, and so it became truth. Until Mary shattered that truth. They would never know that an innocent picture of the four of them had sparked the unease in Mary, destroying everything. Yes, it's true, Mary snapped. She was broken beyond repair, shattered by a perfect storm that had been brewing beneath the surface. It wasn't just her. The storm had swept up all four of them, pulling them into a spiral of deception and betrayal that none of them could escape. Each played a role, each drove the storm that would become their undoing. When Mary snapped, it fractured her very core, causing the final, irreversible shift from sanity to chaos. Circumstances hadn't just eroded her sense of self, they'd twisted her perspective, sharpening every betrayal, every perceived slight, into an unbearable ache. She wasn't the only one undone by it, but she was the one who let it consume her, who turned that storm into an act of pure destruction. Mary's breakdown wasn't just personal. It was inevitable. She saw only the bleak, binary truth of her mind, friend or foe, loyalty or treason, love or hate. And in that brutal clarity, she lost everything, failing to see that the storm she unleashed would spare no one, least of all herself. Dane grew up in the foster system for the most part. His birth name, Daniel Manning, was the name he went by until he became an adult and legally changed it. He didn't have a past to run from in fear. No, he changed his name to help him forget the things he couldn't forgive. But he never outran his past. It hovered over him, haunted him, and resulted in him living with a chronic identity crisis. His subconscious tried to protect his fragile sense of self, manifesting in a severe case of OCD, an ongoing internal struggle he faced, which was oddly in conflict with the relaxed attitude he outwardly displayed. Duke was most understanding of this dichotomy that existed in his friend. He knew it was how Dane kept his demons at bay. Dane had experienced the most horrific abuse on a daily basis. That was the norm. That also was how he identified family. Families hurt each other. Only when he was farmed out to a couple of reluctant foster parents did Dane discover that everyday beatings were not something all parents dole out, and not something children usually had to endure. His normal, he discovered, was not normal. And as soon as he was released into foster care, he felt free. He felt invincible. And he felt guilty knowing his kid sister, just 6 years old, still had a dozen years of beatings to endure. She had not been removed from their parents, and he realized he couldn't sit idly by, praying for her safety. He whisked her away in the dark of night and rescued her from a life of suffering, from the abuse. He saved her life. Unfortunately, the police and the judge, they didn't consider that a rescue. They called it a kidnapping, and he wasn't a hero, he was a criminal. The silver lining was he had drawn enough attention to the danger his sister was in that the authorities promptly removed her. And, being young, she was adopted almost immediately. And to this day, she lived a comfortable life, safe and well-loved. So, truth be told, despite being convicted as a juvenile for kidnapping, Dane was a hero. When Dane met Mary, he placed all his hopes and dreams in the basket of promise she carried. He saw her as pure, untainted, a sanctuary from the horrors he had endured. He spared her the weight of his past, never darkening her innocence with the brutal details. Instead, he offered himself as the ideal husband, a man capable of love, of bringing order, of being her unwavering support. He was Mary's biggest fan, her lifelong cheerleader. But in doing so, Dane created a quiet, unspoken pressure, a burden neither of them recognized. His belief in her perfection, his assumption that she harbored no demons of her own, derived from a kind of naivety. He assumed her unbreakable, assumed she would never need saving from herself. And in this unspoken pact, they buried their insecurities and fears, each too afraid to reveal their scars and risk shattering the delicate image they had of one another. They avoided burdening each other, but the result was a fragile, hollowed trust. It was only a matter of time before the silence unraveled them both. The South, with its deep-rooted traditions and cultural codes, plays a significant role in how this story has unfolded. Southern culture places immense value on family, loyalty, and honor, values that are both a source of strength and a source of conflict. In the world of Duke and Maggie Hart, these values were everything. Traditional Southern marriages are often seen as partnerships that go beyond love. They are seen as alliances that carry the weight of legacy, community, and cultural expectations. Duke and Maggie's marriage was no different. It was a partnership in every way, built upon mutual respect, shared history, and a commitment to their daughter. The concept of family in the South is often intertwined with legacy and heritage. For Duke, who comes from a long line of Harts, this legacy was embodied in the land they lived on, the ranch they built, and for Dane, family was something he longed for, something he strived to establish, a stable, loving home after a tumultuous childhood. But family is not just about blood, it's about the bonds we choose, the people we trust, and the values we uphold. In this case, those bonds were tested in the most harrowing of ways. And, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, the ties that bind, the love, the deep-rooted connections between these four endured beyond what could have easily broken them. Duke and Mary took on the role of parents to the twins. Without skipping a beat, those children were engulfed in love and acceptance, and raised in the spirit and legacy left by Daisy. And equally as amazing and perhaps unfathomable as it may seem, Dane, Uncle Dane, was more than a presence. He was a nurturer, a caregiver, and a source of love and security for those children as well. The family they formed was unconventional, but also unconditional in its love and unbreakable in its bonds. A family determined not to be defined by the trauma they endured, but instead to be defined by overcoming the trauma. Forgiveness opened the floodgates, allowing them to heal and allowing their scars to be reminders of mistakes never to be repeated. Their love for Mary was something they all mourned the loss of. It left a hole in each of their hearts. Just as the loss of Daisy had, her evil was undeniable, and it was difficult to reconcile their best friend Mary with the monster she was. Even so, none of them wanted to see more death connected to this tragedy. But ultimately, the justice system would decide Mary's fate. In South Carolina, the death penalty remains a legal punishment by lethal injection, by electrocution, or by firing squad. And Mary Marks faced the possibility of being one of the few women to receive this ultimate sentence. Historically, women have been sentenced to death far less frequently than men, often due to societal views of women as nurturers rather than perpetrators of violence. But when a woman does commit such a crime, especially against a child, the societal outrage can be immense. In fact, the legal system, too, is influenced by these cultural perceptions, often leading to harsher punishments for female offenders in these cases. Mary's trial and sentencing would be a direct reflection of society's views on justice, retribution, and gender. At the end of the trial, despite Maggie, Dane, and Duke advocating for a life sentence over the death penalty, the heinous nature of Daisy's death, the suffering, the torture, the disregard for a child's life, and the lack of remorse easily tipped the scales. Mary was sentenced to death. That does it for episode 8. And it brings this tragic slice of crime story, Heartbreak in Hartville, to an end. Any of you sleuths surprised by the outcome? This one came with lots of layers to peel back, right? Intractable abuse, the foster system, the trauma of losing parents at a young age, the struggle to conceive, the value placed on generational family ties, and complex cultural, societal, and familial beliefs and values to unwind. I've left you with lots to think about while you await the next unexpected slice of crime's tale. Thank you all for joining me on this journey. Together, we've uncovered the darkest corners of Hartville, but we've also uncovered the ties that bind. Until next time, this is Casey, your resident Slice Sleuth, suggesting that you keep your eyes open, your senses alert, and your heart ready to embrace the truth. Because in Slice of Crimes, nothing is ever exactly as it seems. Infinite thanks for listening. How do you feel after an episode of Slice of Crimes? One step closer to the truth? If you haven't cracked the case yet, no worries, you're not alone. But before you go, remember, the mystery doesn't end here. Enjoyed this episode? Show some love. Share Slice of Crimes with your friends, family, or even that neighbor who's a little too interested in true crime. Oh wait, that's probably you. Your 5-star ratings and killer reviews help keep these investigations coming. And I couldn't do it without you. Got your own theories, burning questions, or maybe a case you think I should tackle next? I'm all ears. Send your ideas and suggestions my way. The more you engage, the sharper my sleuthing gets. So until next time, fellow sleuths, keep your wits about you. Stay curious. Stay sharp. You never know what the next slice of crime will serve up. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Infinite thanks for listening today and for tuning in next week.